right, howdy all. This is the OLM Operator Framework Working Group. This is the February 3rd, 2026 session. Looking at the agenda, we have, I believe that is a thing that we need to have here. We have an incorrect agenda, so fix that. Barring that point, we have no documents on the agenda right now for targeted review. So let's look at some of the follow-up. A couple of weeks ago, we looked at some of the items on the board here and we generated some actions. So taking a look at them really quickly. Michael is not on this meeting, but I know he said that he would be able to take a look at the needs docs epics that we have in the project and be able to help us put together some rules associated with maturing these out of the needs docs state. So I guess I'll follow up on with him. Let me put a little action here. Okay, then let's bring up the view. See what else we have in a second. Any other actions? So that's docs. And that's docs. Let's see, we had the note that we can now we can bump controller runtime. We completed those bumps. I'm sorry, we completed the Go 125 bumps, excuse me. And so I expect that we need to create some tickets that follow the 135 adoption. So let's put that in here.
For some reason, I thought we did that already.
Hello? Now, yes.
Hey, Camilla.
We bumped controller on time. I think in the biggest part of the things, but we have a new patch, so we have been bumping. We need to do a new release.
So you're saying we have done controller runtime.
But now we have a new version of controller on time, so we need to bump the new version of controller on time.
Okay, so then let's just do it this way. Okay, so those are two things that we need to tackle to be up to date with those. Yeah, so I remember, Camilla, last time we talked on this subject, you gave us a really good PR as an example of the work that's necessary to update to controller runtime. And I don't remember seeing any tickets in the project or any PRs where anybody did that work. So that's why I consider it still needing to be done. I believe that we figured out these board
I think
queries.
we are not using webhooks and the configurations that you are impacted by. If you are not using the webhooks and the configurations that you are impacted by, the bump happens and we merge and happy life. So
Okay. Okay, so those may be simpler than the example that we were going by, which would be lovely. Am I putting this in the wrong place? I am. I'm updating the last meeting, the previous. Sorry,
Wha-
folks. It's a Monday, evidently, in my head.
What we need to do is bumping goal. I didn't check if we have already the image in downstream 1.26, 25.6.
Yeah, we do not. We can't take that action yet. We do not have a timeline on it either because we're not getting responses.
But I'm doing the bumps of the upstream stuff to keep you all in the edge as well. So we can do the release this week and go for the happy path.
So I don't think we can do the Golang updates
Let's
beyond the
go lane.
current edge.
Yeah, the Golang, no. But
Yeah,
we have a lot of dependence to bump plus control runtime.
right. Okay. I just want to make sure I understood what you were talking about there.
Yeah, then that we can do and do the release and move forward.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Okay, so let's take a look at the board real quickly. We'll walk status from right to left. So I moved 1576 here to ready for review because I did two things actually on this one in the last week. I split it into an on cluster component. Basically, the original Epic defined spec level and tooling level work as well as on cluster work. And we've split that so that the on cluster work is in this follow-up epic here. This because mostly because of the fact that we were going for a very long time, and it's nice to be able to complete something. But more importantly, I had been primarily driving the effort on this epic, and I have some competing priorities, and so I wanted to be able. It felt like we had a good delivery edge on the previous work. So I took the on cluster work here, stuck it in a new epic, and we'll get to that a little later, or it's available work if there's any interested parties in the community for that, of course. But that means that this existing epic no longer has the on cluster work and has one last work item on it in order to be completed. So the epic isn't ready for review state. Let's see, next. We still have 4 epics. I was able to close out one because it had been abandoned. We discovered that it was a path that we were not going to take. It was related to the Carvel adoption that we had been discussing in 2024. And then we ended up going in a different direction in 2025. And so some of that work no longer made sense as it was originally written. But that was one of the 5. So these additional 4 are pretty much waiting for Michael to take a look at them to see if we can conceptualize some general guidelines about how we mature the draft doc contributions into our formal documentation. Any questions on that one? Cool. It's pretty much a we don't know, but here's how we find out. All right, designing. We have a couple here. This one looks like Onik owns it, and he is not on the call presently. I know that a number of the Red Hat contributors have a competing meeting today, so may have to follow up with him later. Tell you what, let me make a note in the agenda. Sure I'm doing the right date. And then we have this. So are we actually still designing this epic right now? The last I recall on the Helm chart support, and I even got a
To
note
my
in here.
knowledge, there's no active work on it right now.
Okay. I see Camilla's brief on July. And then 2 weeks ago, as a result of this meeting, we had a conversation where we were saying, yeah, we still need to break this down. I think that was the purpose of the brief, right, Camilla?
Yeah, I think what we need is get to the brief, right? If you open the brief, we have a maybe it's easier, right? In my mind, what I would expected, but probably we have that if we go down, down, goes down, we have one item for each thing, right? So I would imagine that each item is like an epic because it
Okay.
requires, yeah,
Let me just
like we
scan
have
down here
like
to
a
the
10
bottom.
items, yeah. But many things we have already tracked because it's config API, box cutter,
Okay.
and we are moving towards, right? The only thing that we don't have, it's a good organization to show that in that board. So,
Ah, I see. I see.
yeah. And link the things. Maybe we could put in this document the the jitters or the upstream epics. I don't know. We need. I can try to do that, but I would need like some when because it's a low priority, right? When we have some, I have some time. I can try to try to find the epics that we have already, try to find the jitters that we have already, and try to link everything. And what we don't have, create like a meta tag, something like, right? Organize the view, what is missing, what we are doing, where we are,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But
Okay.
you require some effort, right? Because it's like 10 items, 10 epics, and jitters, and whatever. So it'll be need to be when I have some time. But can be an action for me. Camila,
Yeah.
try
I
to.
I would not say that you need to go and divert any priority in order to do that. I would just say let's continue to talk about it. We have the
Which
upstream
action
Slack,
for
or
me? Yeah.
we can
But
continue.
which
Uh,
action for me? Who knows? I find some time, a crazy time. I don't know. Who knows?
yeah, that's fine.
If
As
I
you
don't do
say,
for
it
the next week, we can do postpone for the other one. And at
that's
some
fine.
point,
Yeah, it's like I was just
keep it in
talking
check.
to Catherine offline, and pretty much our stated objectives for the last year have been really about trying to provide sufficient compatibility for existing catalog content before we moved into new content types. So yeah, as you say, this has become less of a priority for the previous period, but also, as you say, it sounds like we have already made some progress in this area in various directions. So we need to reassess where we are there. Um,
Yeah, it would be great if you. I think we can organize that in a way that make it more clear, right? We definitely did, right? Because we have the config API now that is required for this one. We are working the box cutter. It's not there yet, but we are close. Are two things that we need for sure in these items, right?
right. Cool. All right. Action done. Thank you for the update. All right. Then let's look at the no status stuff real quickly. Let's see, add retry limits and a new reason to progressing status condition present when retry limit is reached. Don't we have an effort? Let's see, look at the last note. Okay, this just
Would we
once.
ping Patrick because he works in something for box cutter that like his uh, time in the line window for we don't be in procs forever, which basically is almost the
Okay,
same.
good, good, good.
But
Let me take a note. Thank you. Oop, sorry. Take that action. Cool. Let's see, next one. Direct bundle. Last is, okay, I froze this one, but it's failed
That's
out.
one. I think
Eh,
the priority of this one is low, right? If we need that, I don't know. Is a direct bundle can be a registry bundle, right? It's not a Helm chart.
Yeah, I think previous efforts have been focused on registry v1 bundles. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And we actually even state that as a basic understanding of this particular effort is that anything that we are asked to do a direct install on must be a registry v1, and we don't do
So,
dependencies on it.
so the request, how would it be that? So using a tooling or using operator lifecycle manager? Do you know? Because in in the solution, we need a catalog to have the bundle. The ask is, I want to install the bundle without the catalog. How
Yep.
you would provide this bundle for the solution?
So there's a few different approaches to it that I've seen done. There is a brief that was started on this, and then there was also a proof of concept that was done for
Okay,
kind of
sorry.
a fun exercise period that we had by Joe. So there are at least a couple of different versions of this, right? And in addition, I've also done a version of this where I spun up a pseudo catalog on the fly and applied from it, right? So I took a bundle pull spec and generated the catalog from it containing that and then doing it, which is roughly analogous of operator SDK's run bundle operation, right? So there are a variety of approaches.
I see. But it should be in a tooling, right? We need a tooling doing like SDK does run bundle, whatever.
I guess my personal preference on it is that this should be a native install mode of the on cluster components so that we could literally create a cluster extension that references a bundle image and just have it installed on the cluster.
I see. I see. Makes
And I
sense.
think that the
Okay.
goal is like to enable basically a lot of testing flows.
I see. So mainly we need like a controller that in the API to reconcile instead of the catalog, the bundle directly and do the stuff.
Right. We
I see.
basically need a mechanism by which we can differentiate between this is a catalog and this is a bundle image, and then to use the different applier now, or sorry, to render it onto the cluster using the applier. The question is now with the box cutter work that we've done, whether the initial efforts that were started on here in the brief and the proof of concept still hold up. Because I know that box cutter does not use the Helm applier. Um, so I don't know where this one currently stands. That's why we're having a conversation here. I would say that this one still needs some discussion. Okay, next. Yeah, and then I guess just responding to your statement of priority, a lot of these things in the no status are things that were lower priority than the compatibility function. So they've kind of fallen off. Like this one, if we go down to the bottom, yeah, this is another one that I froze out of staling out because it felt like an important thing that we wanted to keep on the horizon, even if we didn't have it. And it looks like we had a person who assigned themselves, spent a month on it, and then unassigned themselves. All right. Any updated stat on this one that anybody knows? Okay, I'll just cycle the next one for right now. All right,
The
next
install
is
directive, sorry, the one to install directive bundle, we also
mhm.
could do like a feature gate and create the stuff. And it's done, right? At least, and after we shape, maybe to see if that can move forward. But we need Jira as well, I think.
So definitely, I think our pattern is to implement new functionality behind a feature gate and default it off until we get a chance to get some feedback on it and feel comfortable there are no side effects. Okay, moving on to the next one. Configure user group permissions for an operator's provided APIs. I think, I'm not sure if this one is still. Oh, okay. This is, yeah, sorry. This is the one that looks like I froze it and then I reopened it, but it's back to no status. This is the one that I was talking about earlier that looks like it was predicated on adoption of the Carvel framework.
Yeah, you had asked me, I think, about this last time, and I
Yeah.
updated this based upon information I had found.
Okay. Do you happen to know though whether we're doing a different approach now, whether this work as spec'd out is dead? That's the thing that I couldn't quite close off.
Um, I'm not sure it's necessarily dead. This was a while ago. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago. Um, my recollection is that it's trying to provide an OLM zero feature where we would automatically provide access to users to the provided APIs.
Just pull that up real quickly. Sorry for the scrolling that this is going to cause. Oh, yeah, permission management. I do not believe that we have any equivalent thing on our slate anymore. As a matter of fact, in terms of like, we don't plan to do any V0 style role aggregation in V1. And I think that in terms of providing permissions, we're conceptually driving towards an Android-like model, not an RBAC, but rather permissions grouping in terms of functionality. And then
So yeah, this
thirdly, policy.
yeah, I mean, this never really went anywhere.
So I think my preference would be at this point in time to close it so that we don't have to spend time continually going back to it. And if we discover through conversation that we're going in a direction that aligns with it, then we can always reopen it. It just would be nice to be able to
Well,
disposition this.
yeah, what was the date of that RFC or that brief? Yeah, I
October
mean,
11th, 23.
that's yeah, over 20 years. Oh, sorry, about to say over 20 years ago. No, over 2 years ago, over 24 months ago.
Progress. Okay, now of one. Next one is V1 should be able to be added to a cluster with existing workloads. This is looking at the bottom very quickly to see. Okay, it was frozen last May. And a note that it's possibly blocked by V1 upgrades. This one was closed as not planned, but it looks like it just staled out in September. So going back a step here, we're saying that the ability for V1 to be added to a cluster where there are existing workloads, for example, Cert Manager, is dependent on the idea of V1 being itself upgradable. That's what I'm understanding from this, from that comment. I'm not sure I see the dependency. Bring it back up. Okay, so the comment says that in community meeting, we discussed it. We needed to be able to toggle feature gates. And we needed to have a decision made on installation of dependencies or not, which cites another issue. Well, that's circular at this point in time. We've gone tautological. So if I'm understanding this correctly, and right now I'm the only one talking, the issue here is that we might find a cluster that did not have V1 in it, onto which we wish to install V1, and there's an existing installation of Cert Manager. So any capability to install our own Cert Manager will fail.
Yeah, actually, maybe not fail, but we'll lose like the certs, right? Because you reapply the CRGs and can lose the data. Not necessarily fail, but can either,
Oh, so
I
worse,
don't
we
know.
can throw away the
Yeah,
certificate store and
yeah,
break things that are already there, but think that
yeah.
everything is okay for us. Is that right?
Yeah, if we are doing if when we install the operator lifecycle manager, we use create, you fail. I don't think we use create. I think we use apply, and then the apply, you reapply the CRGs, and then we lose the certs. We can lose the certs, right? We can mess up.
Gotcha.
It's the thing.
Okay. I'll put this at 1.x, which is right now our general parking spot, but I think that this one's still viable.
I think it is one. The idea was like, if we create a Helm chart, if we replace the installer in shell script with a Helm chart, now that Todd already did the amazing work to have a Helm chart of the stuff there, we could like put search manager as a dependence, for example, and then this problem would be solved. But then we need to change the installer to Helm chart.
That's fine. I'm just trying to make sure that we have a proper state on it. And if we've frozen it, put it in the 1.x, verify that we still think this is an ongoing concern. And it sounds very much like it. I think we've met the goals here. Let me clean up here. Thank you. All right, permission validation pre-flight stage 2. This one is status.
I don't know. I don't know if we still with a pre-flight, right? I don't know.
We never got rid of pre-flight, the first set of pre-flight code, because we still have the old applier. But if we're going to move toward box cutter, we may not need this. So I don't know.
Well, Para's already done
Yeah.
some work to try to make the existing pre-flight compatible with box cutter and the cluster extension revision. So this one sounds like well, okay. Firstly,
No.
I think that we definitely are retaining the pre-flight as it currently stands, even as we move on into box cutter. Based on what I understand right now from Para, I would need to confirm that. But this additional part was to try to, like right now, the existing pre-flight information composes a message, which is just a plain text representation to the admin of what's going on there. And this this additional effort was to attempt a programmatic representation of it that could be interpreted by the computer. I would
I don't
say
know.
this is a lower priority thing, even if we're going to do it.
Yeah. Because in my humble opinion, right, in my mind, we don't have the tooling, but this stuff should be solved by the tooling and not the conditional status things like the pre-flight, right? I have the tooling, I have something, I run the tooling, check my stuff, has all permissions. No, generate the required permissions for I validate. And then I apply, right? I think it would fit better because the way that he is, we put in the conditional status and we have a limit of size. So it's impossible we put like everything structured, like like suggesting the brief, right? We need to truncate the message. Today we truncate exactly because of the problems that we have with the pre-files that we have today. So if we have many errors, we truncate the message because
Right.
otherwise we cannot update. So it's not a good solution. I think try to tooling to try to put the output of what is required to be applied in the conditional status.
So I think that was part of what this was trying to do, was to try to encapsulate what we wanted to see programmatically in the express message, right? Because right now it just sets a status in the status, a message that just, as you say, blob of text gets truncated if it's too complicated. And this was trying to apply some structure to it that would allow people to iterate. And I think it was intended to be used on cluster as well as off cluster via the tooling. So this could go either way via library.
Yeah, I think that was their idea, right? I put like the exactly rule, like the file for copy and paste and apply. So as a user, I see the error, I take the text and apply. The problem is the size. I think never will work
Yeah.
well in the conditional status. We need the tooling. That is my humble opinion.
Yeah. For the context of this conversation, though, I think it's sufficient to say that this remains an ongoing concern. It's not staled out, so we're okay. I did stick it against the 1.x milestone release, whatever you want to call it, so that we can more easily bucket these things. All right, and I think that is as far as I want to go down today, unless there's an item that there's of interest specifically to somebody. I think about 45 minutes of driving the board is enough. Thoughts, feelings? All right, open the floor for any other discussion topics. All right, very good then. Hearing nothing. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And for those of us who have action items, we'll try to follow up on them and get them in the next meeting. Although because of the fact that that one will be an EMEA APAC, I may actually throw some of those updates also in the follow-on North America, LATAM, MAA session as well. Right. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.